Hi everyone, hope you're well. I'm actually in my living room today because I actually wanted to film with like my coffee table and stuff, and I stupidly have already filmed this video, but I just felt like there was too much like stuff going on in the background. But I hope you guys don't mind the setup. You guys get to see a lovely bit of my green velvet instead of the pink. So this video is going to be a boy talk video. I've never done a video specifically about boys before, but I just thought it'd be fun. I love the personal style videos. Like, I love my favorite YouTubers who talk about real stuff, real things, and especially I love a bit of gossip. Anyone who properly knows me knows I love talking about boys. I love a gossip. I love when my friends get together with boys. I love knowing about dates. I'm that friend that if someone gets engaged, I cry, even if I don't know the person that well. Like, I'm a psycho. I'm really, really stoppy. I know I was meant to come on this video, like I said in my last one, and do a jackets video, but all the jackets haven't come in yet, so I am going to be one of those annoying YouTubers that says she's going to do a video but hasn't really. So I'm really sorry about that. At least you got this fun video, and please go grab a snack. Let me know which one you grab down below, because this video is going to probably be very long and I'm probably going to have to charge my battery again, which is really annoying. First question is, what's my worst date experience? So, and you guys don't shout at me, because my mum definitely did after this happened, and I have had a guy swear at me on a date. Yeah. And it was a Nando's date of all dates. Every single girl probably who lives in the UK can't sit here and tell me they haven't had a Nando's date at some point in their lives. I was about 20, I think, probably, and I'm not gonna get into the situation or whatever, but this guy was, I think, a bit odd, and he's like just went off on one all of a sudden on the date, and I just kind of sat there like flabbergasted. And then my mum, after, when I called her and told her, she was like, why did you not like tell him to do one? And I was just, I think it's because I sat there just, you know when you're just flabbergasted at the situation, like, you know when you're just so like, did that just happen to me? So it was one of those situations, and then he had the audacity to say, do you want to like come back to mine? And I was like, I don't do that, no thank you, especially not after you swear at me. So I don't know what girl like does that after someone swears at them, but hey ho, not me. And yeah, just really funny. And funnily enough, he actually messaged me a few weeks ago, and I was like, are you that boy that swore at me? No. Do you have any first date tips, and do you ever feel pressured to be in a relationship? I said this in the last video that I filmed as well, the one that I'm not going to use. In regards to feeling pressured to be in a relationship, never feel pressured to be in a relationship. I don't want to sound crass, and I'm probably going to say a few crass things in this video, but I feel like any woman with a vagina can probably have a relationship, like, if she really wanted to. Like, there are guys that will go out with anything. Like, I don't want to be, again, crass, but there are. So I think, for example, for me, in the point that I am at now in my life, I think I'm not in a relationship because I choose not to be in a relationship, because I'm either not found the right person, or I have found the person that I would have liked to be with, but it's not the right situation. As sad as that may be, to me, it's going along with the same thing that I've said before, and it's I'd rather be alone than in bad company, because I don't just want to be in some half-assed relationship. Like, I'm not in my teens anymore, where I just used to see like guys, like nice guys, and you know, just date or whatever. I'm getting a bit more in a serious point in my life, so no, I definitely don't feel pressurized. And in regards to first date tips, what I would definitely say is, please, please, please don't feel like on that first date you want to try that new Charlotte Tilbury red bright lipstick, liquid lipstick that you've never worn before, because you never ever wear red lips, or put on that mini skirt that you've never ever worn that's a bit tight and you kind of have to tug on it all night. No, you have to dress comfortably. You have to kind of look and be and feel like yourself, because first of all, he will vibe that you're not being yourself, and second of all, you will just feel so uncomfortable. Like, I can imagine myself wearing a bright lip on a date, and I would just be there like it'll probably be this situation, or I'll get a spoon and I'll be there like, you know, do I have, which I probably do now, do I have anything stuck in my teeth? Is my lip liner gone everywhere? Has my lip liner bled? Like, you know, just don't give yourself that hassle, please. Like, it's really, really not worth it. And at the end of the day, he wants to see you for you. He doesn't want to see you like not as yourself. He wants to see you how you normally would be, definitely. I had loads and loads of questions about this. Loads of people were asking me about my experience on Tinder or any dating apps. What tips would you have to stay safe but still to meet people? If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. That's my advice. At the end of the day, you've got to make an adult, safe decision. And I'm not saying do it or don't do it. It's up to you whether you feel safe or not. I have done it, but I've always let someone know where I'm going. If you want to do some research on the guy, I did some online dating back, this is like 3 years ago probably, and I think if I was to do it now, I would go about it a bit differently, and I would do a bit more research on the guy, like see on Facebook, see his Instagram maybe, try and see if he really does exist. And in terms of it, I think it's a really good fun if you don't take it too seriously. Like I said, when I was back in the day, if you guys want like a specific video on my awful online dating, then let me know, because it's definitely funny. I've had some funny situations, ranging from going on a date with what turned out to be one of my boyfriend's friends, which is a bit awkward. He wasn't my boyfriend at the time, he was my boyfriend after, but that's one of them, to having probably one of the worst kisses of my entire life. Like, I had some really funny situations, and I used a site called Plenty of Fish. I don't think it's that common anymore, but at the time it was quite more common because people used to like chat on it quite a lot more. And then more recently, like this last year, I did download Tinder, and then a situation happened on it, so I wasn't on it very long, and then not a bad situation, just like a situation. And then recently I tried to download Bumble, and I was literally on Bumble, and I was like, hello. There's some fit guys on Bumble, I'm not even gonna lie. But I feel like I'm not in the right stage to like online date. I think you have to be in like this frame of mind, I feel like, to online date. Until I'm in that state of mind, I literally had it for like a day, and then I just deleted it, and then I ended up re-downloading it and then re-deleting it like that day. So I think until I'm in that stage, I'm gonna leave it for now. But literally back in the day, I remember I went on 4 dates with really different guys, like different jobs, different, I don't know, you know, different accents, different ethnicities. The only thing they probably all had in common was that they were all tall. Just really fun. And I think it was like, obviously, as long as you're sensible, it was really good because it taught me kind of a bit more about what I want from a relationship. So I think someone out there doesn't want me to film this video today, because this is like the 3rd time me filming this. The battery died, so I'm back at it. I did some things for work, but it's now 11 o'clock at night and I have work tomorrow, so we need to speed this up a little bit. But I'm really in the mood to film this, so I'm just gonna carry on from where I started. I'm gonna go back to the last question that I was at. This is true commitment, you guys. This is how much I love you guys. I think I was saying, how do you deal with a guy that's sending mixed signals? And my answer would just be to just forget it. Just leave it. There's honestly more guys out there that will not send you mixed signals. It's boring. It's just that, leave it. Honestly, leave it. Have you fallen for your type or something completely different? I've done both, really. I would say I have a type, but I have gone out with people who are not that type. My type is probably just tall, dark, and handsome. Height is kind of like my biggest attraction probably on a guy. I'm not really like fussed on like specifically muscly or anything like that. Just like tall, nice bum. I don't like someone too prim. I quite like a bit of a rough kind of look. Like, I quite like facial hair. It doesn't really matter. It kind of depends. I don't want to say like, oh my god, I just like this type. You can't ever say 100% I would just date this person, but yeah, that is my sort of type. And bad boy is probably the other one, which is bad. How long of a gap to leave after a breakup to start dating someone new? And when is it appropriate to tell a new boy about your past relationships? Oh gosh. How long a gap to leave after a breakup? You can't really like put a time on these things, to be honest. I definitely can't put a time on these things because I've done stupid things before, and I've got into relationships again quite quickly before, and it's really not healthy at all. So I would say try and leave it as long as you can. But if you like someone, there's obviously a reason why that relationship ended, so why not? It just kind of depends, but I just honestly, take it from me, it's not healthy to date someone straight after you've gone out with someone else, because you're still kind of reeling from it. Even if you might not have like feelings for that person anymore, you're still in like an effed up headspace. So the other thing is, when is it appropriate to tell a new boy about past relationships? Whenever you want. I don't think there should be a rule. Like, as long as you're not there talking about your ex 24/7. Normally in like when I date anyway, a guy, like, this always comes up in conversation, like, when did you last date someone? You know, when was your last relationship? There's always like that kind of question. So I don't think there's really a time on that one, really. How do you personally deal with heartbreak and overcoming those feelings? Main thing for me is, there's 3 things really. One is time. Time heals all. Some people say apparently that it takes half the time you were with that person to get over them. I don't really go by that, because sometimes you could have been with that person for like a few weeks, but you really liked them, and it might not just take a few days to get over them, it might take you months. It kind of just depends on how much you like the person. Keep really busy. So after a breakup, like after my breakups, where you guys I'm sure have seen, like whenever I've mentioned them, I always try and keep super, super busy, whether it means going out more, seeing friends more, working more, which normally it's for me, it's working more. Stuff like that, definitely keep busy, and it will take your mind off it. And the other thing is obviously speak to someone whom you love and care about the situation, whether it be a friend. For me, it's my mum normally, and that normally makes you feel better. Have a good cry. I have sat on this sofa, and cried over a boy already, yes. So I don't know, I think it's really important also to like get the feelings out. Like if you have an anger feeling, feel the anger. If you have a sad feeling, feel the sadness. Don't let the feelings eat up away at you. Don't text him, call him, speak to him, message him, that kind of stuff. Just honestly, just delete. Delete is normally a good idea, to be honest. I love this question. Do you ever approach guys when you're out? If yes, how do you go about it? Or do you wait for them to approach you? You guys might kill me. Any of you guys who are like girl power girls out there. I am a girl power girl, but I'm very traditional. Like I like to be courted, as bad as that sounds. If some people don't like it, that's fine. This is just me. I'm very traditional. I like a guy to make a first move. It's just, to me, it's attractive. I think chivalry is dead nowadays, and I really get attracted by stuff like that. Little things like coming to the door when he picks you up, you know, little things like that, like holding a door, you know, opening the car door, just little things. Like it's cute, it's nice. And I don't think I've ever made a move on a guy unless it was like a dare. So probably giving you an example from my night like a couple of weeks ago, not last Saturday, probably the Saturday before that, I went out with some girls, and the classic one is, do you have a lighter? Classic, never fails. You ask someone that, and then you get talking. It's a fail-safe one from uni. I know it's bad, but it is. And then the other one I've heard girls say, or I've even had with my friends, is, my friend really fancies you. That is the classic one. And then that always gets a guy either talking, or you have eye contact. Like, oh my God, a friend of my friends the other night when we went out kept doing it to like any, and I'm not joking, any Tom, Dick or Harry in the club who would walk past. Some of them were decent, but some of them weren't. And I would just stare, and then they would just stare, and then they would stare, and then I would stare, and it would just, you know when you don't know what to say to each other when someone said something like that? I was just like, she's not my friend, I don't know her. So it's just cute, like it's funny. I can't ever imagine myself going up to a guy and being like, hi, I think you're really good looking. Like, oh, I don't know, I don't know. Maybe it's the stupid little girl in me. I'm not going to lie and sit here and lie. I can't imagine myself doing it. This is another good question. What ratio do you use between listening to your head or your heart? It's something that I always struggle with. This is a hard one. I think when you're first going into a relationship, so like when I'm dating, I find it really easy to go with my head, because you're on a first date, you look at them, you know, you assess the conversation, the date, the overall thing, and you're like, do you know what? No, as much as you might fancy them or think they're attractive, I'm just like, no substance, or this doesn't, like, they're not compatible, or they've got too much baggage, or, you know, there could be a number of million different things. But I think once you get into a relationship, like once you've started dating them a few times, or you're seeing them, or you're actually in a relationship, it gets harder and harder to go with your head, and you start going with your heart. But I've found personally, there comes a point sometimes in a relationship when you've just been chipped at too much. So there's just been a chip after chip after chip after chip, and you just get to a point where there's no stub left. And as much as you love the guy, as much as he's amazing, loving, caring, you're really attracted to him, you've got physical chemistry, you've got mental chemistry, you've got everything chemistry. But if there's something fundamental that doesn't work, whether it be financially, morally, religiously, future plans, kids, marriage, where you want to live, you know, stuff like that. It's important stuff if you want to be in a relationship with that person, in my opinion. And these are the kind of things that I have found have sort of ended my personal relationships. It's third-party factors. It's not being in love with someone. It's always like the third, like environmental factor, or, you know, the emotional thing, or like a moral, like something weird like that always crops up, and it starts to become a really big issue. Like, okay, this, oh great, another chip, oh my God, okay, this, another stab in the heart, okay, this, like it just gets to a point where you're just like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I'm hurting myself, and it's just not fair. And I think once you get to that point, you need to start listening to yourself and start listing the reasons why. I've got a few examples. It's just depressing to say, like, and it makes me really sad, like, when I talk about it or think about it. But little things like I said, I'm not here to like spill tea or like, you know, I'm just here girl on girl talking about how I felt and stuff like that. But like, for example, like one New Year, I was meant to have my boyfriend here, and he went out with his friends, and I was really, really, really poorly, like really, really sick, like off work for a week sick. Surely my boyfriend's meant to be with me on New Year's. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, I just remember sitting there and being like, oh, but you know, he called me on New Year's, he called me at midnight, like, it's, you know, it's fine. Like, no, it's not fine. Like, there's certain things like that might mean a lot to you that you shouldn't have to compromise with for someone else. I've found that sometimes I let my heart take over, and then after a while I start to resent, and it's a really, really bad thing. So what I would say is definitely try and keep both your head and heart in check. And I think that's definitely something that I've taken from my last couple of relationships, is like, keep them both in check. If you need to keep that wall up for a bit longer, keep it up. I'm very bad. My wall is very, very high. It might be as high as the Great Wall of China, honestly. This is another good one. If your boyfriend has made a big mistake, for example, lied for something important or something of that sort, and then he truly tries to make it up to you and to make amends, do you think you should forgive it? Do you think you should forgive him? Or is it true that if someone does one thing once, he will do it again? I can't comment on that. It depends how big the thing is. Like, to me, cheating is just one of them ones where it's just like, do you know what? And I've been in kind of sketchy situations with boys where you can't 100% say whether they have or 100% haven't cheated. So I can't really comment. To be honest, I'm in a grey area about it. But I would say if you know that someone has 100% cheated on you, I personally don't know whether or not I could forgive. I have gone back to exes, so I can't say that I can't forgive, because when you love someone, you automatically want to forgive them. You love them. You want to know that they've changed. You want to know that they've bettered themselves, or that they want to be better for you. But I don't know. If there is something inbuilt in someone, I don't know whether or not that changes. Like, for example, me, I know that I'm a morning person. Is that ever going to change? Am I ever going to be someone that can sleep until 1 all the time? I don't know. So you have to assess these kind of situations. But I don't think it's easy for me to say, like, yeah, you can't forgive someone, because it's always circumstantial. You have to go by your gut, and you have to go by, okay, is time going to let me heal? Am I going to be able to heal? Am I going to be able to forgive? And when I say I've forgiven, have I really forgiven? That's a really big one as well. I remember when me and my ex-boyfriend got together, like, we sort of made a pact that we would stop talking about the past too much. We would talk about like the happy things, but we wouldn't really talk about the bad things, because it was like, okay, we started afresh and we're starting afresh, but we're going to keep rehashing when we're having arguments. That's not healthy. So I think it's really important to make sure that you've forgiven. What are the 3 qualities you look for in a guy? Probably ambition is a really big one. Like, I think that's a really attractive trait. When a guy's super lazy, or like doesn't know what they want to do, just personally, or is, you know, you get to a certain age and when you're like, okay, I'm still unsure about everything, I find it a little bit unattractive, just because I'm like, I like people who've got their shit together a bit more. But that's just me personally. I like someone obviously who's funny and super caring and loving as well. That's really important for me. This is another more advice question. I love your videos so much. I was just wondering if you have any tips or advice about watching someone who cheated on you move on with that same girl. It's something that I'm struggling with at the minute and can't help but want to know what he's up to. This is where social media is like your worst best friend, and also what I think is your worst best friend is third-party people. So I had, for example, like I said, I'm not gonna like go into this like crazy or anything, but I had a situation where there was a big thing going on, and an ex-boyfriend of mine got together with another girl, and I had like loads of people who I thought were my friend come and tell me in what I thought was not a very nice way that he had a new girlfriend, because I obviously didn't have him on Facebook, I wasn't following him on social media anymore, etc., just because I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Wouldn't you call me and be like, Barbs, I just like, before you see it from someone else? No, it was more like a, how can I put it? Almost putting it in my face. And what I would say is just ignore those people. They want reaction from you, just absolutely ignore it. And it's hard and you're probably gonna get upset, but once you've seen that one picture of the girl, you need to just cut it off. So for example, when it happened to me, I just made sure I never went on the boys' Instagram again, and you need to just cut, no Facebook, no nothing. And you need to just be happy for them. Listen, evidently whatever it was working for them, and you need to just say, do you know what, I'm better off. To me, cheating comes in lots of different forms. It doesn't have to just be like kissing or sexual or anything like that. It can be like flirting. To me, can also be cheating. Like, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't flirt with other boys, so why are you flirting with another girl? Not cool. That's just as bad. If anything, I think that's just even worse, because it's just like you're attention seeking, and then you shouldn't be attention seeking from another girl. I should be giving you more than enough attention, because I think I do. So it's just horrible. I think, honestly, hon, you can do better. I love this. Can't wait for this video. How do you meet guys? I literally sit at home and pray for a miracle. Like I said, I think nowadays I find it really, really hard to meet guys. The main place I do meet them is going out clubbing, or to bars and stuff like that, mainly clubbing, because I don't really go to bars that often. I go more clubbing. It has its pros and it has its cons. The cons are probably that this guy, you're not really going to know a lot about him, because probably you've met him and you don't know his friends and stuff like that, so it can be a bit like you start to see that he's a psycho like 3 months into the relationship, whereas sometimes if you've met someone through someone else, you're kind of like, he might be a bit more normal. For example, with me, I work in a job where it's very, very women-based. Like, unfortunately, like even YouTube and my pharmacy, like it's a very heavily female orientated job. And not just that, everyone seems to be like older than me, and all the stores that I go to, like I know everyone. Most of the people are married off. Like, I'm not going to meet some hot 20-something guy. Like, it's very, very unlikely. So it's one of those ones. And the other one obviously is online dating, but I just don't think I'm in the right headspace. So maybe we should just sit at home and pray for a miracle together. I think that's a good idea. How do you get past heartbreak and let go of time you had with that person? I'm struggling with thinking back to the good and bad bits and the what ifs. Oh my God, the what ifs are the worst. The what ifs are the ones that like hurt me the most. The what if this happened? What if I hadn't have done this? What if I hadn't have done that? And you're just gonna kill yourself by doing that, because at the end of the day, we don't have a time machine. If you keep rehashing, you're just gonna hurt yourself, and it's just gonna make it worse. What I would say is you need to make a mental list of the good and the bad. Once you start making a list and you start to see that the bad outweigh the good, that's when you start assessing why the relationship broke down. And I think it's a really important thing in healing. But definitely stop with the what if. Like, what if I've done this, then we'd be together? What if I hadn't done this? You know, no, you can't live your life like that. And at the end of the day, if it was meant to be, it will be. I can definitely relate to the what ifs. The what ifs are the worst. What if I hadn't have said this? What if I hadn't have said that? What if I was here? What if, it's just, it does eat up at you. So that's why it's really important to distance yourself from the situation as well. What are the red flag signs in a guy? Something you should stay the F away from? Probably if he's being shady, if you're out to dinner and he does this with his phone, which I'm actually a bit privy to be honest. Like, I am a bit private with my phone, but you know, the classic, you know, as soon as he answers, it's kind of like a big slide on the table, you know, little things. I've had situations where I've been in the car with a guy and another girl calls him. That's not a fab situation. You know, when they've got like the car where the Bluetooth is hooked up to the car, yeah, oh my God, awkward. So there's little red flags that I especially now, I think in my life, I think before I used to be a bit more of a scaredy cat. As soon as I said that, a cat came on the TV because I've got the TV on mute. I think now, although I'm not one of those girls that, you know, looks at a guy's phone and stuff like that, I think all my exes can vouch for the fact that I've never been like, I never go through my boyfriend's phone and stuff like that. But if I see something shady, I will pick up on it. But I feel like in the past, I've always been a bit too scared to dig as deep as I think I should have. So if I ever look back and think, oh my God, you know, did he actually cheat on me? I think I could have really figured it out a bit better, but I was always a bit too scared. And I think if it happened again, I don't think I'd be as scared. I think I would definitely go a bit more psycho on him. Hi Barb, best advice for girls getting back out there after a bad breakup? I would say probably do a bit of what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm really, really trying to focus on myself at the moment. I think I'm in a situation where if I don't fully love myself, how do I expect someone to love me fully back? Not that I don't have like self-respect for myself and stuff like that. Like, I know what I deserve, but I just feel like I need to physically build up my own confidence first in order to then have space to let someone else in. Because if I'm not there, it's just not going to work out, and it's not going to be fun for anyone. You just need to work on yourself and then come out of it and be like, do you know what? I'm ready now. I think, for example, in my situation, I know maybe now I'm not that ready, and I'm more just about going with the flow and just seeing what happens and not really concentrating on anything. I don't think I'm in the right state of mind to go into gung-ho dating like how I've done in the past. How do you get over insecurities when you're dating someone? I think you've just got to remember that they like you and that no one's perfect, and that this goes back to the whole thing about working on yourself. So for example, at the moment, if you don't feel like 1,000,000% about yourself, you're gonna be not 100% in a relationship. And I feel it always comes back down to like arguing and stuff like that as well, because once you start to feel a bit uncomfortable, I feel like that's when things go a bit funny. So what I would also say, it depends on the guy. Like there has been 360s in relationships where I felt really comfortable with one guy, but with the other one, I always find I'm always like, you know, like, okay, like, you know, it's one of those things. Like one guy I remember I felt really, I'm honest to God, I think both of us have felt so comfortable with each other. But there has been times in other people where I've been with, and it's just, like I said, it's like, oh, okay, like, you know. So it's one of them ones where I'd hope that I would find the guy where I'm more comfortable as opposed to the one I'm not so comfortable with. I like this question. Where do you draw the line with learning to work with their flaws and knowing that not everyone is perfect and letting go? Also, what are your key factors that are an automatic no and will end a relationship beside the obvious, like cheating, lying? Okay, where do I draw the line with learning to work with flaws? So for example, I'm quite bubbly. Like I can be shy. Like for example, if I go on a date with someone or whatever, like I'll be shy for the first few minutes, and then I start to sort of ease in, especially once I get to know you and whatever, you know, you start to ease in a little bit. I have gone on dates before where the guys are really, really quiet. It can be nerves or whatever, but sometimes if a guy is too quiet, it starts to be a chore to get the conversation going. And it can be really, really frustrating, because you're like, why is he not trying to make conversation with me? Like I'm here trying to like think about what to say, and he's just sitting there like happily eating his food, and I'm there like thinking at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I know sometimes it can be just girls overthinking, but once you start to date someone and you start to see he's really, really quiet, it can be a bit of a turn off. For example, I'm giving just like an example. Or for example, if a guy snores really loud and then you can never sleep, like that might be a turn off for you. I've never found a guy who doesn't snore. It's all about assessing like what you're willing and not willing to compromise on. Like I said, the big things for me, like the long-term things I can't compromise with. I know I can't. But little things like if the guy's an absolute sweetheart and he's a bit quiet, like I will put up with it at a certain extent, but there's certain things that I know that you have to draw a line at as well. How to have the talk. What are we doing? Where is this going? Without scaring the guy away or pressuring him. I'm really, really sorry, guys. If anyone comes at me and says I'm a psycho for trying to assess where I stand with someone, I'm so sorry. I can't be a part of it. I have too much respect for myself in the sense of like the time I spend with someone and giving my energy to someone, that if I feel like I want to know, are we dating? I think I have the right to ask that, and it's not psycho. I think at the end of the day, I know my self-worth. If you're not dying to be my boyfriend, you don't have to be my boyfriend. It's as simple as that. But I think it definitely depends on the guy. If you start to like see someone, it also depends on the kind of stage that you're at in your life. You know, I've seen guys before where it's been like, he's a nice guy. You know, that nice guy. Not that guy where you're like, oh my God, like butterflies every time I go to see him, like dying, like he texts me, yes. You know, the nice guy where you're like, oh, John texts me today. Oh, I'm gonna see John later. Sometimes you need that cuddle buddy in the winter or whatever. I have dated a John in my life where you're just like, he's just so nice. Like, he's really nice. I probably wouldn't have that conversation with him because I'm not like serious about it, and you know, I'm not as inclined to have that conversation with him. But if I date someone and I'm like, he's more than a nice, he's a keeper, he's hot, you know, I'm feeling it, like this could go somewhere. I don't want to go like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months down the line and be like, okay, where do we stand? Are we exclusive? Like, are you seeing other people? You know, it's not nice, like thinking, okay, is he sleeping with someone else? Is he with someone? Like, it's just not a nice feeling. Like I said, he should be dying to be with you. And the way I've always addressed it is, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not here to mess around. I'm not saying that if you don't want to be in a relationship with, you're messing around with me, but there are boundaries that I sort of have in myself. And I just think it's important to set those boundaries early on and let them know what you're after. If you make it very clear that you're just here to have fun, just hang out, whatever, that's cool. If you guys are dating and it's serious, you're talking every day, you're seeing each other a lot, there needs to be a conversation. And if he's not feeling it, don't feel like a psycho, it's absolutely fine. I'll give you guys a story. Like back in the day when I was like 18, I was at uni and I was absolutely besotted with this boy, like besotted. I thought he was the coolest thing ever, like super charismatic, super charming, super fun, handsome, like honestly, he had it all. But he just didn't want to be in a relationship with me, whether it be because he never liked me enough, whether it be because he didn't want to commit or whatever. And guys, honestly, in the 4 years that I was at uni, the charm just, I was just, by the end of it, I just looked at him and I was like, what did I ever see in him? Like, yeah, he's attractive and stuff. He might be a good kisser. Like, that's as far as it probably goes. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it taught me a lot. And for a while, I was really upset when I was 18. And then as like I said, the years went on, we were still friends and he was still behaving really odd. But now I look at him in a completely different way. So I've completely forgotten where the question was, but yeah, well, you're not going to scare him away. And I think it is important to have that chat, because I could have gone years and years and years, like still chasing after this like silly boy. And instead I had the chat, assessed the situation, found out that actually I could be friends with him and still have like hang out with him and have fun with him. Now, like I said, I look at him in a completely different way, and I think, Barbs, seriously. Have you ever been in a toxic relationship? And if so, how do you learn to let go? You would kind of have to define toxic. I've definitely been in a relationship where lots of people thought I shouldn't be in the relationship, but you'd have to define toxic. I think when you start to, like I said, feel that chipped away feeling or that stab in the heart feeling, is that defining toxic? I don't know. But I think as soon as I started to feel unappreciated and things like that, that's when I think it starts to just get, you almost, like I said, it starts to knock your confidence, because you start to think, is it me? Like, why doesn't he want to hang out with me? Why doesn't he want to call me? Why doesn't he want to speak to me? Why doesn't he, do you know what I mean? And it's horrible. Why does he only want to see me when it suits him? Like, it's not cool, it's not fair. So the way I learned to let go is just, again, to make that mental list. And I think this is my favorite saying, but it's the straw that hit the camel's back or something like that. I'm really bad. I know there's a straw and I know there's a camel and I know there's a saying, and I always get it wrong, but something along those lines. And I think it's that. I think once you get to a certain stage, it's just like, okay, I can't do this anymore. There's a question about people generally ask if you're still in touch with an ex or crush from school. She asks about friends as well, but I'm only doing about guys. I think it's not healthy to keep in touch with exes, and I used to be really, really good, especially like over my uni days, my early 20s, where I used to be very, very strict about if I started seeing a guy and for whatever reason it ended, I would just kind of like, not block and delete, but just like ghost. Like, at the end of the day, you don't want to keep rehashing things. But I think when you get to a stage where you've been with a guy for a long time, I've gone back on my word, guys, it's really hard to not speak to exes sometimes. Like, if you've been in a relationship with a guy for like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and he was your best friend and you hang out with him all the time and you care about him, you remember his birthday like the back of his hand, like, it's hard not to have all these, you know, emotions and stuff. But I'm very, very bad at that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm not the one who normally makes the first move, but I have reciprocated talking to exes before, and it's something that in the past I probably wouldn't have done. But like I said, when something happens in their life or something happens in your life and you just miss that person and they're the only person that you would talk to them about what's happened, it's hard not to. But I would say it's definitely not healthy, especially when you don't know where their line is between, is he talking to me because he wants to get back together with me, or is he talking to me because he wants attention, or is he talking to me because he's trying to get back at someone? Or it's a horrible, horrible feeling. And like I said, I felt that recently, and it's really, really horrible. So I think it's important, if you're talking to your ex, you need to assess, are you guys talking to each other because you're just being there for each other, which again, I don't think is very healthy, although I've done it, or are you talking to each other because you want to get back together? And I think that line needs to be set. And I think if you are going to try and get back together, you need to try and get back together, and you don't need to, like, I don't want to be horrible, but pussyfoot around basically. And you need to sort of make, like, not a plan, but you need to talk and hang out and make it happen quickly and not dilly-daddle, because time is money. No, it's not. Like, at the end of the day, time is precious. I could walk out of here tomorrow and meet someone. Time is precious and you can lose that person. I could meet someone tomorrow and my ex could want to get back with me, but he hasn't acted quick enough. Like, it's a horrible feeling. Do you really want that? So I think unless you're talking to your ex and you guys know where you stand with each other, try not to do it. It is unhealthy. The only reason I got back with them is through weird situations like that. And I don't know if I think I would go about it differently if I was to get back with an ex again. There's fine lines with getting back together with exes, to be honest. What do you wear on a first date? Simple or chic? It depends on the date. Are you going out for drinks? Are you going out for, you know, whatever? Let me know and I can do a video on first date outfits. That would be quite fun, especially if I start doing my actual dating again. That'd be so fun. Bumble date outfits, and that'd be really fun. Let me know if that should be a thing. Do you believe in the one? If so, have you ever thought you've met the one? I definitely think I have thought I've met the one. Obviously, when you're younger, especially, you're just like I said, when I was at uni, I used to like think, oh my God, I've met my love at uni, how romantic. It's just like in the movies, like, oh my God, it's so cute. But then realization hits and then you're like, this guy isn't how I thought he would be, or he doesn't want the same things as me. And that's when the head starts overruling the heart, in my opinion. But I'd love to think there is the one, and I do believe there is more than the one out there for someone. But obviously it's just about which one is the one for this lifetime. And I think I have had soulmates in my life. Like, there's been a couple of people in my life who have been my soulmates, but I don't know whether or not I've had a soulmate situation and a romantic situation together. I think I've had like best friend and romantic, but I don't know if I've had soulmate and romantic. I've had soulmate and I've had romantic. I just need the two to like mesh together, and then we'll find a great guy. I know some guys who love girls who play hard to get, and then other guys who like it when the girl acts like their #1 hype woman, always clingy and complimenting and showing them off. When you start something with a new boy, how do you act towards him? Do you play it cool, clingy, mysterious, or get attached easily? I hate playing games. If you want to come and hang out with me and be in a relationship with me, just don't play games with me. I just find it exhausting, and I find it really, really childish, immature, and time wasting. And like I said, I don't have a lot of time. What I would say is definitely, if a guy's playing games with you, if you've met him on a night out and he texts you 3 days after, I don't even bother replying. Like, are you actually serious? Like, so boring. I think it's funny to play like silly little, I wouldn't call these games, I would call these little tricks. If you guys want to know my trick, and if anyone else has done this, let me know down below. I told you guys about my hate of like making conversation first with a guy. So sometimes, like, my ex knows about this as well, who I did this with. You know when you're talking to a guy and you're talking and talking, you've been talking all day, and then it gets to like 10, you're still talking, it gets to like 1, 2, you need to go to bed. I don't end the conversation. I don't like, okay, yeah, I do pretend. I pretend to go, like, I pretend and say I've fallen asleep, but actually I have gone and put my alarm for the next day for work, and I have actually switched off my WhatsApp and put my phone on airplane mode, and I haven't fallen asleep, because that would mean just falling asleep dreaming about your messages. It's because I actually just want to keep the conversation going. And I think things like that, like, that's cute. That's because you want to talk the next day. It's not because you're like psycho and you want to be like, oh my God, like, I look really like uncool if I don't know. Actually, if anything, I think it's kind of cute. So no, I definitely don't play games. If I like him, I like him. If I don't like him, I make it very clear. I'm not here to waste anyone's time, nor my own. Like I said, 11:51 at night precisely right now. When do you think a guy is ready for marriage, and have you ever got proposed? Oh my God, no, I'm nowhere near getting proposed. And when do you think a guy is ready for marriage? Good question. I don't think guys nowadays are. I think they're so scared, and just marriage, the word marriage just freaks them out, and I don't understand why. Like, seriously, like, if you found a good one, lucky you, but it's horrible. Like, I am a big believer, like, I have so much self-respect for myself, and I've got a lot of, I know my self-worth. And if a guy, after like being with him for like a longer period of time, doesn't know he wants to be with you forever, I'm not saying he has to marry me tomorrow, but if he doesn't see a future with you, I'm sorry, like, I have too much worth. He could be the nicest, sweetest, most amazing guy, but if he doesn't see it, and I see it with him, I'm sorry, I just can't. What do you want / miss out of a relationship? I want companionship. I think I want team. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I want someone who, like I said, is my soulmate, but also my lover, like, who, you know, you want to hear what they've done about their day. Like, I've had trouble with this sort of stuff in my past relationships, and it's like, don't you want to know what I've done all day? Like, does that not interest you? Like, do you not want to call me right before bed and say, babe, like, good night, like, I love you, speak to you tomorrow? Like, it's something as small as that, as picking up the phone and making that conversation. Just being like, how was your day? Did you have a good day? Like, I would want to know that about my partner, and if he doesn't want to know that about me, then I don't think he's interested enough, and he must be interested in something else. And I think that's what I've always had to really deal with, and it's such a horrible thing to have to deal with as a woman. Like, he's not interested enough. Maybe it's my insecurities coming out, but that's how I see it. If you don't care enough and you can go to bed without knowing what the hell I've done all day, then you don't like me enough. I don't know, maybe you're just too wrapped up in yourself and you're just a little bit self-absorbed. So I definitely want someone who is my companion and cares about me to that point where he cares about me. Like, if I got stuck in Timbuktu, he would come and get me. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing, because I would do the same for him. But I don't know if I've found that yet. And what do I miss out of being in a relationship? Again, probably the same kind of thing. Companionship, but I don't just want to be with someone just for the sake of it. It's not worth it. I know you date an ex, would you do it again? And she explains her situation. So you guys obviously have seen on here, I'm probably going to end on this question. I have dated exes before, and it's kind of a touchy subject. Even my own mum was like, do you know what, Bubs, is it a good idea? You know, I went through it with her, I've gone through it with my friends, and it's all, I think, situation, like, it depends on the situation. I was going to say situational. And I can't sit here and say if a guy's cheated on you, you can't get back with him, or do you know what I mean? I can't, it's all about how you feel. Are you over him? You want to see how things could potentially go? Do you keep thinking about the what ifs? And for a while with my exes, that is how I felt. It's not, I'm not gonna lie, it's just one of those things. You love them at the end of the day, but for me, for example, my relationships didn't end because of something really, really bad. It was just like things that, like I said, that are actually important, and I think I will take more into consideration this time round if, you know, in a relationship, is that we had different belief systems and things and different attitudes on things. And that's the hard thing, because you love them, but you just don't have the same like feelings. So it all goes great for a while, and then you start to think, okay, we don't agree on this, so how is this going to work out if you don't agree with it now? And I think that was what was really hard for me, is because, you know, if someone's a great guy, yeah, that's fab, but is he still going to be a great guy in 10 years time when you're wanting to get married and he's not, or you want to move to Canada and he doesn't? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's things like that. So that's why I can't sit here and say it's a bad thing. And actually for me, I think dating my exes has been a really healthy thing, because now I can look back and say I've tried it, I've done it, I've read the book, I've watched the TV show, I've watched the film, I might even have listened to the podcast if there's a podcast on it. Like, do you know what I mean? I think had I not have done that, the what ifs would have still been eating at me. Whereas now I can look back and I can say, do you know what, I've tried my best. Like, and do you know what you could do is as well, you've seen, like, you were with your ex, you even took him back after whatever, a year or whatever. You see him again after you broke up with him again, and you might not feel a thing. Honestly, guys, it's so weird how you can look at someone that you had feelings for and just say, do you know what? I can't do it anymore. Like, you know, I loved you so much, but you just have no respect for me whatsoever, and no respect for our relationship, evidently. So I think it's really, it can be healthy. Although it's like, it can be bad, it definitely has its pros. And for me, I think it was a really, really healthy thing. And it's definitely something that I would say you've got to just assess for yourself, and you've got to see if you're strong enough. And I think I was strong enough. And if anything, I think it's made me stronger. I'm not one of those people that sits and talks to my exes all the time. So the way it's happened for me was really odd, but it happened. And that's another reason why I think I was so like, do you know what, I need to give this another go. It was because it was so, the situations were so random that I was like, I almost have to give it a go, because is it a sign? I'm a sign believer. Like, I always believe in signs and like weird stuff like that. So yeah, I hope that kind of makes sense to you guys. I have really enjoyed this video. It's almost like a therapy for me, or like gossiping with my best friend. So I do hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you guys want a more specific boy talk like video on a topic, let me know down below. Another thing I really want to say to you guys, especially if you got this far, is I'm not one of those YouTubers that does this, but you guys can see I'm really putting more effort into my YouTube, and I've had loads of comments recently telling me that my videos are not going in your sub boxes. So the only way that you can definitely be sure to get it is by obviously subscribing, and when the algorithms aren't weird, it's fine, and to hit that notification button, so you literally get a text whenever my videos come up on your phone. And that way you never miss one, because I have been uploading loads recently and I'm really enjoying it. I do love you guys lots, and I hope you guys had a laugh and a giggle. If you had a snack, let me know what you had down below. I love you guys lots, and I'll see you all in my next video.